Hello boys and girls, welcome to another episode of potential player signings for Arsenal this summer. Transfer window is open, the rumours are hotting up. Now I'm going to be doing a centre back today, and in my last video in episode 10 I said that you would know the name of this centre back. Well, I've changed things around. I'm not going to go and go into a profile of this player because over the last 48 hours or so there's been another player in the centre-back position that has had very strong links to Arsenal, and that's 18-year-old Saint Etienne defender William Saliba. Now, what do we know about this guy? Not a lot, but he is a very exciting prospect if you believe some people that actually watch French football and understand and have seen him. He plays in League One. Now don't mock that because you look at the likes of where we got Guendouzi from. Also don't mock the likes of Saint Etienne and things like that. We have a current Arsenal player in our team who came from Saint Etienne. Not directly to us, but that's where he started out. Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang. So they do have a history of producing some good players. 6'4", only just turned 18 years old. Breakthrough season for him. And in comparison to who he could be like, a lot of people are comparing him to Varane. If he's anything like him, then my word, he will be one hell of a centre-back. French international, and his style of play, very fast, very powerful, technical, very imposing. And looking at some videos of him, he looks like a decent player. And I know YouTube videos can be very misleading. You could even put a compilation together of me and I would look good. I'm not too sure though. Not the compilation when we was playing United Stand, not that bit. But no, he does look like a good player. Now what I will say is that if he's one of two centre-backs that Arsenal are preparing this season, you know, him and a real big name, big experienced centre-back, then I'm absolutely fine with that. And I'm looking to that and I'm saying, yeah, club's moving forward, that's just right. But if he's the only centre-back we're getting in, given his age and everything else, that's an almighty gamble. Despite how good he may be, just buying him is not enough. We need more, it's as simple as that. I can see what Arsenal are doing right now, which is they're buying youngsters, they're trying to balance the squad out because it's a very overaged, unbalanced kind of squad. So they want to put some market value in there. They don't want to make all these same mistakes that they did before with the Alexis and everything else. They want to get young products in there so that if, you know, other clubs come calling and everything, they can ask the going rate to go and invest in the squad. Now, looking at some stats, like I said, he's a French international. Now, he has only just signed a new contract in April. But don't look at that and think to yourself, well, how could he possibly be going? Saint Etienne need to balance the books and they need to sell some players to do so. And they feel that this contract renewal was just a way of getting their valuation so that they could, you know, get the best rate for one of their top talents instead of losing him for ridiculous money. He's still only going to cost around about 15 to 25 million euros, between that kind of bracket. And I know that doesn't sound like a lot, but for an 18-year-old that's broke through in his first season, that is. And for Saint Etienne, that's a lot of money. Whereas compared to if we tried getting him before the contract, maybe it would have been about 3 or 4 million euros. So massive difference. Some of his playing stats this year: 19 games, an 85.6% pass success, 80% tackle win, 32 tackles won, 28 interceptions, 43 clearances, 75% dribble success. So decent stats in there for a young lad that's just broke through in his first season. Now, I'm going to compare him to some Arsenal defenders we have at the moment. And instead of picking out one individually, I'm going to look at the four main defenders of Arsenal, which is Mustafi, Sokratis, Koscielny and Rob Holding. And there's some very, very interesting stats. Now, what I will say about stats with defenders is that it's not always about the highest number that makes them look better statistically. It's lower. So, for example, if I was to say this player's got 3.0 in one statistic and another has 2.0, it doesn't mean that the one with the 3.0 has the better stats. It's actually the one with the 2.0. So looking at it with his defensive stats and everything else, we're going to look at tackles first of all. And he averages 2.0 per game. And that's actually better than Mustafi. And it's only a little bit higher than Sokratis, who averages 1.7 per game. Now remember, the lower, the better. Koscielny though, averages 1.1 per game, and so does Rob Holding, 1.1 per game. Our best two tacklers within the squad are Koscielny and Rob Holding, followed by Sokratis, and no surprise to some of you, Mustafi in last place. But he's actually ahead of all of them. So that's a very interesting one. Now, when you go on to another stat here, we're going to look at the fouls committed per game. And Saliba has only committed 0.5. And he's only, just around the Holding kind of figure, who has an average of 0.6. So he's better off in that terms. Sokratis, no surprise, gives away an average 1.5 per game. And Mustafi, he gives away 1.4 per game. So that's definitely a big issue, that they give away too many fouls. But Rob Holding and Saliba don't really give away a lot of fouls, like to stay on their feet. So that's an interesting stat. Interception, Saliba averages 1.8 per game. And that's pretty much close with the likes of Mustafi, who averages 1.9. Believe it or not, Koscielny Holding again 1.2 per game. Really, really good. And Sokratis making only 1.0 per game. So yeah, again, Mustafi way down the list again. And it kind of just reiterates the point of why so many Arsenal fans are so fed up with him. Now this is a very interesting stat in terms of the times you've been dribbled past. Saliba just 0.5 times per game. Mustafi 0.6. Koscielny 0.4. And then Sokratis 0.5 and Rob Holding 0.6. So again, he has statistics right up there with the Arsenal players. Now, in terms of building up the play and everything else, his average of passing was only 40.3 passes per game. But you've got to remember, he plays for Saint Etienne, with all due respect to them, whereas the other guys play for Arsenal, and it's a little bit different in style of play and everything else. Rob Holding, he averages 61.4 at Arsenal. Sokratis 55.5, Koscielny 52.4, and Mustafi 56.9. Now, the pass success rate, this is very key. And yeah, you're looking at this one, and I'll give you a guess who is the most wasteful Arsenal player in terms of passing. I don't need to say his name, do I? Sokratis has a rating of 89.4, Holding 87.5. Mustafi though, like I said, he is the most wasteful, 81.9%. So, what can I say about Saliba? What can we gauge from this? Statistically, he's right up there with some of Arsenal's best performers. Koscielny and Holding are very clearly highly, rated in terms of what they've done. Rob Holding, of course, has not played a lot of games because of his long-term injury. Sokratis is right up there, but the worst performer at Arsenal is Mustafi, and it just shows. It's a young lad. Is it that much of a gamble? I don't think it is, to be quite honest with you, when you're looking at the figures they're talking about. I'd be interested to see if Arsenal can get this one over the line, and I'd be very interested to see him play in the Premier League. He's got all the attributes, very physical, very powerful, very direct, good in the tackle, and it could be a bargain, because in the next couple of years, if we let this one slip, then he could be a hella price. He could be massive in the market, and we won't get anywhere near him. So very interesting, and I'd like to see Arsenal get this one over the line, as long, like I said, as it's one of two. This can't be the only defensive signing. We need to bring two in. Bring in a big, top, experienced centre-back now. There's some names mentioned: Umtiti, Manolas. There's a few, if you go back to my earlier videos in the earlier episodes. The likes of Konate, for example, at Leipzig. There's some top centre-backs out there. We need to go and get a couple of them. It's as simple as that. So, as usual, let me know in the comment section whether you agree or disagree. Do you think this would be a good signing for Arsenal? Would you like to see him at the club? Do you know anything of him? Have you watched a lot of him in French football? If so, let me know. If you're new around here, make sure you hit the subscribe button. Make sure you smash a like on the video. That is it for episode 11. Episode 12, I'm going to go into that centre-back that I was talking about, that everybody is mentioning. So until that episode, I'll see you a lot soon. I'm out of here.